you might want to get something with a lower intelligence level.
Garrett pretty much just said, hey, go outside, go in your front yard, dig around a little bit, find your favorite rock, put it in a tank, give it a name. That's the perfect pet for you. It's not dumb like a rock. It is a rock. I'm Louie, Flexin Pythons. Got a reaction video today I'm super stoked about. We're gonna be doing it on Guess Who? Who you think? I got my shirt, I got my Super Dwarf Retic. We're ready to react to a Reach Out Reptiles video. Garrett is just full of great information, especially if you like Super Dwarfs Reticulated Pythons. You're gonna learn something, you're gonna wanna check him out. Link to his channel is gonna be down in the description below, as well as a link to the original video. In this video, he's gonna be telling us what he would rate a Super Dwarf in all these different categories. Instead of me explaining it, Garrett's gonna explain it in this video, where he's gonna be comparing the Super Dwarf Retic to all these other animals. You chilling? Post it, dude. If you don't know, this is Chance. He is from Garrett from Reach Out Reptiles. If you haven't seen my unboxing, it's gonna be up in the right-hand corner. You can go ahead and watch that, but make sure you watch this. You're not gonna wanna miss it. That way, you're not behind on the future episodes that we're gonna be reacting to. Now, Chance here is a Super Dwarf. He's 25% Jampea. What's up? And then he's 50% Coyote. Yo, Garrett, nailed it, dude. Coyote. I don't mispronounce that no more. When I edit it, I'm gonna go back and make sure I said it right again, though, because I still might have said it wrong. I don't know. All right, Chance, you ready? Super Dwarf versus the world, baby. Let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Reach Out Reptiles. My name is Garrett Hartle, and we're actually going to kick off an entire series with me and some of my friends, all explaining why we think our favorite reptile is the best reptile. Welcome to Super Dwarfs versus the world.
Super Dwarf or Super Dwarfs?
I guess
the title says Super Dwarf.
Is there more than one? Is it all the Super Dwarfs versus the world? Or is it just the one around your neck, Garrett?
Super Dwarf versus the world.
Guess it's just the one around your neck.
What we're going to do is actually go through with me and rate my favorite reptile, the Super Dwarf, according to these 10 categories. We're going to score the animal in each of those 10 categories with a number 1 to 10, add them up at the end, and see what that final score is. In this episode, we're going to establish the baseline score that a Super Dwarf gets. And then we're going to actually take this question out to, I don't know if I would call them reptile experts. Some of them, probably. Others, maybe not so much. But entertaining people all the time, nevertheless. And we're going to actually ask them to rate their favorite reptiles according to the same system and figure out why they would give these kinds of ratings. Using that system, we're going to take Super Dwarfs and stack them up against everybody else's feelings about how their animals should stack up. And we'll just see, I don't even know if this is totally accurate. It's just going to express everybody's biases about their reptiles.
Our first category is wow factor. Coolness, impressive aspects.
I think that a Super Dwarf is going to scale pretty high on that. I mean, when you talk about the size of the animal, even though this is a very small animal for a retic, it's a big snake. If you found something like this cruising around your yard, you'd be like, I saw the biggest snake ever. So I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10. I think there are certainly some animals, well, Nile crocodile, Komodo dragon come to mind, that would be that perfect 10 out of 10. But between the colors, the varieties, the gentleness, there's a wow to it that, you know, when somebody is handling their first snake, you have this gentle, inquisitive animal that's impressive, maybe scary at first, but with so much personality. Yeah, they definitely have a good wow factor to them. I think a 7 out of 10 is going to be about as high as I can go with that, which I would say is pretty high, according to the way I'm thinking about it.
Next.
Garrett, the GOAT of Super Dwarfs. At least that's what I refer. In my head, I refer. He's the GOAT. That's the GOAT of Super Dwarfs to me. How you give him only 7 to 10, Garrett? Look at this dude. Look at him. By the way, yo, I'm taking good care of him. Take good care of this little guy for you. This guy alone is enough for me to say, yo, this is a 10. 10 to 10. Easy. But like he said, a wowness factor. He had a Komodo dragon and a wowness factor. So obviously, yeah, I guess a retic's not going to be in that wowness factor if you're putting a Komodo dragon there. But why not an 8? Why not at least an 8? Give him a B. Give him a B. Maybe he studied a little bit harder. Give him a B+. How about an 8.5? Huh? Yeah. We take an 8.5, Garrett.
Diversity. Lots of options, less options, variety.
Ooh, I'm going to give these guys a perfect 10 out of 10 for diversity. I mean, not only do you have dozens, if not hundreds, of morphs and combos in the reticulated python mainlands that already are or potentially could be bred down into Super Dwarf sizes, like this beautiful cow reticulated python here. But you also have the different localities. There are 7 distinct localities that we have in captivity that you could choose to work from, all within dwarf and Super Dwarf reticulated pythons. And then when you begin to mix the combos into the Super Dwarfs with the intention of selectively breeding down down in size, you have an animal where the smallest retics are under 6 feet long and basically the size of a bull snake, all the way right up to the largest snake on the planet. So they're probably the only really captive, like regularly captively propagated reptile I can think of where you can actually pick from a diversity of sizes as well. So I'm giving a solid 10 for diversity.
Oh yeah. Next. You can't go wrong there. Yo, Garrett, proud of you. 10 to 10. Hey, I'm a big encourager of being biased about what you love. I wouldn't have been mad if you voted 10 to 10 for everything. Every category. Perfect pet. Better than a dog. Better than a cat. Me doing this video taking way too long because the interaction with these dudes is so freaking good. I'm waiting for that topic to come up. But if they get anything less than a 10 on interacting, shutting the video off, Garrett. They better get a 10.
Attainability, price, population, availability.
So this is where I think a lot of people score them pretty low because they think every dwarf and super dwarf retic is unattainable or very expensive. Now, if you're saying, hey Garrett, I want a new retic mutation, yeah, you're probably looking at the average American salary. However, dwarf and super dwarf retics, a lot of the crosses start around the $300 range. I mean, if you called me today and you said, hey, I want a dwarf for a super dwarf retic and I've got $1,000 or less, I would definitely have it. If you need one that's $300, you may have to wait a little bit. So they're gonna get docked a little on availability just because they're so popular right now. They sell very quickly. I would give them, let's give them a 6.5 out of 10. 6.5 out of 10 for availability.
A 6.5 for availability makes sense to me because it's not like a ball python. Ball python, you walk into any pet store, you go get one. Some breeders be selling them for like $50 or less. I know when I bought this dude, I gave him my price range that I wanted. He definitely had stuff. He had stuff that was like $600. $500 actually was the cheapest. So there is stuff that's not you don't have to pay $1,000 or more. You don't, right? But I will tell you, they're all so beautiful. And then when you see one, and then it gets you curious. I was curious, Chance. And so I sent an email and I said, hey, let's up the price range a little bit because I want to see what else you got to offer. Garrett. Lo and behold, I couldn't pass up on this dude because he was so pretty and he has these rosettes that I just love.
Personality.
Oh, the personality category. I think I'm gonna give him a 10 out of 10. I think you can get probably reptiles with more personality, but as far as snakes go, you're gonna have a hard time finding any snake with a more pleasant and interactive personality than a retic.
I gotta stop him right there because he's absolutely right. I'm so excited he said that because this for me is the most fun I've ever had owning a snake. And I've owned many in my life, a lot. I've had boas, I had regular, rosy boas, regular boas, ball pythons, corn snakes. I've held so many different types of snakes from anacondas and Burmese and false water cobras and all kinds of different animals. If you watch my unboxing of this guy, you'll see that it was probably the most amazing experience I've ever had. Unboxing an animal, my favorite snake I've ever owned right here. Easily, hands down. So much fun, so different. And like we just said, Garrett says he sells some for $300. Yo, you buy one that's a little more expensive though, might hurt your wallet a little bit more, but you're gonna be probably even happier. Think you could sell something this gorgeous for just $300? No. Yo, you priceless, dude. I'm surprised you weren't a holdback, to be honest.
Seem to care what you're doing rather than just tolerate handling like most snakes do. The dwarf and super dwarf retics are definitely thinkers. So 10 out of 10 if we're comparing them to other snakes. I guess it would be like an 8 out of 10 if you were comparing them to other reptiles. So we'll split it.
We gotta go with a 9.
We'll say 9. We'll say 9 if there are better reptiles. But as far as snakes go, they're right at the top.
Support industries. Is there a large market built up around the species that makes it easier to care for, caging, supplies, etc.?
This is a tough one. This is growing. So the smaller in size that a super dwarf is, the easier it is going to be for you to find enclosures. However, even the smallest of super dwarves probably require an enclosure that's going to be bigger than what you can find at your local, say, Petco or something like that. You're definitely going to have to find a custom ordered cage. You're going to have to find a supplier of feeders because it would be too expensive to run to the pet shop every week. You can't just buy a bag of food like you could for a dog or say a little bottle like a Crested Gecko. So unfortunately, they're probably going to score a little bit lower here. I'm going to go ahead and give them a 5. 5 out of 10. For industry and market support.
I don't really have an opinion on this one, so we're just going to roll with Garrett right here. We're going to roll with Garrett because this is something he's going to know way more than anyone else, in my opinion. I feel like I don't really have too much experience to be able to have an opinion on this topic.
Interactivity. Do they want interaction with humans or are they better left alone?
Interactivity. You want some? Yo, you want some activity? Yo, you want to hang out?
Go ahead and give them an 8 out of 10 on this one. I mean, they love to interact with people, and not every single time. I mean, what's kind of cool about them is you actually have to put in the time to form a relationship with your animal. A lot of people don't bother. They get an animal, let's say it's a baby and it's a little defensive. Almost every baby reptile is defensive because they think everything's going to eat them. And they go, oh, I have a defensive retic, and they throw up their hands and walk away. Mine's a dud. This is not a reptile for you. You need an automatically pre-programmed pet. You might want to get something with a lower intelligence level.
Garrett pretty much just said, hey, go outside, go in your front yard, dig around a little bit, find your favorite rock, put it in a tank, give it a name. That's the perfect pet for you. It's not dumb like a rock. It is a rock.
You're willing to work with the animal. Then once that animal knows that you are a friend and not a threat, they're going to be curious and watching you every time you come in the room. So they're a very, very interactive animal. The size helps a little bit too. It's not so small that it's going to escape into everything, and it's not so big that you're going to be worn out trying to handle it because it's just more muscle and mass than you are. We'll go 9 out of 10 again for interactivity. Yeah.
Okay.
Next category.
I'll take a 9 out of 10. This dude is in my bedroom, so he sees me all the time. A lot of times he's chilling by the glass. I open it. He doesn't come out striking, doing none of that. I think that's pretty much when he's like, yo, like I'm kind of curious, want to come out a little bit. Is that what he's thinking? Maybe not. Maybe he's just chilling. I don't know. In my head, he's like, yo, let's hang out. Sometimes he's interested in me. Sometimes he's interested in other stuff. Especially when you compare it to other snakes and how those other snakes interact with people. These are on a different level, I'm telling you.
Difficult behaviors, species requirements.
They're going to score pretty high. I'll go ahead and give them a 7.5 out of 10 on ease of care. They're extremely hardy. They're very disease resistant. So a lot of the things that you find in other species like respiratory diseases, they can get it, but it's extremely rare and generally very treatable with retics. They have a massive range in the wild. All kinds of altitudes, temperatures, humidity, almost never have to take them to the vet. Extremely resilient and hardy when set up properly. Even when you're setting them up properly, they're very forgiving of keeper error. They'll score nice and high on ease of care.
Durability. How hard is it to accidentally kill them?
Well, that's pretty tough. I mean, they are a tropical animal. They are properly. They're very forgiving of keeper error. They'll score nice and high on ease of care.
So that's a good one for ease of care. For me, so far, I haven't had any issues. Haven't had no problems. Put them in there. Make sure the humidity's nice. I haven't had anything that was too difficult. The only thing that I will say is feeding them is weird. Feeding them is a little bit different. So taking care of them and their health, as far as the environment, what you're going to put them in, easy. As far as what they eat, that can be easy. They have a wide variety of diet, and most of them are going to be amazing eaters because they're retics still. Used to ball pythons, boas, really easy. Go by the girth, and then you can't go wrong, right? Well, retics, they're so long and slender that it feels weird sometimes. Like this guy was 3 feet, pretty thin, and I was giving him a pup a week. A rat pup a week. Frozen thought. It didn't feel like it was enough food for him because he's so long, right? But I couldn't give him anything bigger because it felt like it was too big for his diameter of his body. It was weird for me. It was different. That's the only thing I would say. It's a little bit different. But luckily, Garrett and his squad, they'll answer your questions.
How hard is it to accidentally kill them?
Well, that's pretty tough. I mean, they are a tropical animal. They are a reptile. They're extremely durable. I guess another downside is people love to overfeed retics to the point of obesity, which will shorten their lifespan over time. They're not very resilient to that. People go, oh, it's amazing how fast they process food, but when they carry fat, it affects their liver pretty quickly. You'll take an animal with a 30 or 40 year lifespan and cut it down to 10 years. So we'll go ahead and give them an 8 out of 10 for durability.
But I don't have too much experience on their durability. So we're just going to roll with Garrett on this.
Are they dangerous to a human to hold or interact with?
I'm gonna say yes, there is a little bit of danger. Now, something this size is not looking at you with a prey drive or anything like that. The biggest danger with having a dwarf or a super dwarf, if that animal thinks for some reason because of your actions that you're going to feed it some kind of warm-blooded prey item, right? And instead you throw your hand in there, the danger is that you would take a food bite. That's the #1 danger because of the frequency and that it could easily be confused if you're not clear in your intentions. This is a hard one to rate for dwarf and super dwarf because the danger factor goes up exponentially with the size of the animal. Let's say we park an average. We're gonna say that they're really not that dangerous. I'm gonna give them a 6 out of 10 for like safety factor, that they're generally pretty safe. And that would be like the largest, dwarf and stuff like that, but it could easily be a 7, an 8, or a 9 even as you go to a smaller and smaller snake. So it's gonna be somewhere between 6 and 9. Should we just throw a center number in there? 7.5.
That's a hard one. Garrett's right because there's different sizes, right? He can get one of his, they get like 6 feet or below. I don't 100% know. but pretty tiny. How dangerous is that? It reminds me of like a corn snake, kinda. Maybe a little bit bigger. You get a bigger Super Dwarf retic girl that's like 12 feet, that could hurt. You know, that can not just hurt, but that can maybe stitch it. I don't know. I haven't been bit by someone that big. But Garrett's telling us 7.5. It very easily could be a way higher one, like a 9 or something like that, if you get a really small Super Dwarf. I would agree with Garrett on this one. I will say, though, that I'm surprised at how unbiased this is.
Bonus category.
Ooh, a bonus category.
I'll explain the bonus category.
Yeah, so the bonus category is whatever I want to talk about. So this is going to be something that is completely up to the person who is rating their own animals so that they can rate them however they want. But how about breeding potential? Unfortunately, too many people think this way about all animals, but I don't think it's an inherently evil thing to think about animals. Now, I don't think that every reptile you ever have, you need to breed. Not by a long shot. If this is...
What a yawn, my dude.
Perfect snake for you and you're like, hey, I want a 9-foot long cow retic, then that's an end game. As soon as there's enough of them available that it's within your price range, you buy it and you're done. You enjoy her forever. And that's it. However, there's such a huge rise in hobbyist breeders. It seems like every 13-year-old with a pair of leopard geckos think that they should breed those animals right now. But that 13-year-old better have a plan for how they're going to find good homes for those babies and breed according to their own market. Super Dwarves are continuing to be bred to smaller and smaller sizes. So as they get smaller and smaller, the market gets bigger and bigger. They are fun to breed. You can get dozens and dozens of different combos within a single clutch. Smaller, manageable size reticulated pythons for the general public, and slowly displacing the need for mainlands. So you're doing something good for the market there and you're making money. I picked Super Dwarfs because I thought they were absolutely the best animal and one that nobody was really taking seriously at the time. Now they are, and the market is established for those people to do it. So if you wanted to seriously invest in a few animals and breed them, I don't think there's a better reptile out there than Super Dwarfs.
I can see that for sure. The demand for Super Dwarfs now is starting to get bigger and bigger. Garrett's a big reason why, in my opinion, but also just people that want a reticulated python. I was one of those people where I tried not thinking about a retic because I knew if I got into it, I would want one really bad, and they get 15 feet. You know, the male's 15 feet, female's bigger. I tried to make myself not like them because I knew that I would never, I'm just not a person that's going to get a snake that big. So the fact that you can get a reticulated python between like 12 feet, the females, and then they get as small as 6 feet. I don't know if they get shorter. And they still get big if you want. Like, he's gonna get 7 to 9 feet. Not too heavy, but still when people look at it, like, it's getting people are like, whoa. It's like, it's awesome if you want a big snake, but also at the same time, you don't want a big snake. They're so smart. Interacting with them is amazing. It's just so different. It only makes sense that if you were to breed these, people will lose it, and you won't have no problem selling them most likely, as long as you know your stuff. With bloodlines and genetic, that kind of stuff, and you don't want to muddy bloodlines and things like that. Me, I don't plan on breeding. But then again, he's just so cool. Who knows one day? I don't know.
Okay, so let's go ahead and add up the score and see how our Super Dwarfs did.
That's a pretty solid score, though, because Garrett's scoring, I think it's a lot tougher than mine is in my head. We'll get a better idea of scoring when we start watching other people compare their animals to the Super Dwarf.
That's where the Super Dwarfs stand. Now stay tuned, so when the next Super Dwarf versus the world comes up, and we have our next contestant with their best competitor, you can see how they compare to the all-powerful Super Dwarf Reticulated Python.
That was Garrett from Reach Out Reptiles. Explain to us the Super Dwarf, what he would rate it. I think they're a perfect 10 to 10. Down in the comments below, tell me what you would rate them based off of everything that you know now. And like I said, this is setting us up for a series of this too. Just like Garrett got his series, guess what? We're gonna be reacting to it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That way, I know you liked it. And I know that when I upload the next one, you're gonna be here for it. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until the next one, y'all have a good one. Let's be honest though, nothing's gonna compare to the Super Dwarf retic.